All right, as you possibly are already aware, if you've been tracking the Asia Cup finals that are taking place right now, Sri Lanka is all out as we speak. Now, we'll bring you more context on this. We'll have my colleague Shivani joining us to bring us more about the Indian team's performance, led obviously by a mammoth effort by Mohammed Siraj. We'll bring you more context on what this game has looked like, what it means for India's players. Remember, Sri Lanka chose to bat first. Experts currently still divided on whether or not it was a lack of effort in Sri Lanka's batting or just India's bowlers really pulling through in the last few minutes. We'll have my colleague Shivani joining us to bring us more context. Remember, rain did push back the game from taking place. You're watching on your screens right now a jubilant Indian team making their way. Remember, we'll be bringing you more context, but this is the Asia Cup final and it's taking place largely, remember, also in the shadow of the World Cup that's going to be taking place, which is why these performances have been looked at so carefully under a microscope. It's also why teams have been so careful about their players not getting injured in these last few games. Now, we'll bring you more context, but Mohammed Siraj really bowling what is being considered one of the best overs that the ODI series has ever seen, that the ODI format has ever seen. We'll have a colleague join us to bring us more context in just a second, but this is something that fans, that cricket watchers have been eagerly chasing over the last few minutes. Mohammed Siraj taking in a whopping number of wickets, as we've just seen. We'll wait again, as I just said, for my colleagues to join us to bring us more context, just to tell us what this means for Team India. Team India, remember, still has to bat in the next few minutes, and we'll bring you that context in just a second. But this is the Asia Cup final. How India performs is obviously looked at as an indicator of sorts to our performance later in the World Cup. My colleague Edwin with us right now to bring us more context. Edwin, let's just start off with the obvious. Mohammed Siraj bowling what is possibly one of the most extraordinary overs in ODI history. Bring us more context.
Oh, well, there's not much of context that one can add on here because this was a performance like no other, given the fact that this is the final match of an important tournament that India is playing just before the World Cup. So there was a lot of questions that were being asked, Toya, about how the Indian team is going to, build itself up. Their performances were not that great. But throughout this tournament, both the batters and the bowlers have done a great job. As far as Mohammed Siraj is concerned, yes, many are describing that over as an over from hell. Definitely it was all hell for Sri Lanka as far as the batting unit was concerned. But for India, it was definitely, they were on cloud nine. And the bowling unit, all the three seamers who featured today, that is Mohammed Siraj, Jasprit Bumrah and Hardik Pandya, who took 3 for 3. They were on fire, they were hitting the deck hard, and they got the wickets. Now, the big question is, fine, you have done this against Sri Lanka. You probably are very much close to just a step away from winning the Asia Cup. But what about the next 2 tests that you have? By September 22nd, by this weekend, they will be playing Australia. They'll be playing Australia for 3 games. And after that, they will be playing Australia again at the World Cup. And from there on, we need to know whether India is going to win the World Cup. That is what people are already asking now. For Indian fans, the Asia Cup is all but over. We know that India is going to come out and get those 51 runs. But are they going to win the World Cup? That is the big question that everybody is now asking, Toya.
Okay, Edwin, let me then ask you, today's performance, what clues can it give us and what clues should we hold back from speculating about in terms of what that World Cup performance could look like? Especially because we have here Sri Lanka that India's played against, Bangladesh, Pakistan, other important teams. Tell us more.
Well, as far as the World Cup is concerned, the team does look good. The team always looked good on paper, but over the last few days, the last couple of weeks, the performance that we have seen from everyone, starting right from the top, there was a lot of questions about whether Rohit Sharma will be the Rohit Sharma of the old, whether he'll be able to score as many runs as possible, will he be able to nail down that opening partner that he wants, and that has been answered in the form of Shubman Gill, who has been just plundering runs all throughout 2023. So our opening is set. Our middle order with Virat Kohli, with other players all coming in, it does look wholesome. Now, the fact that we are missing out on Rishabh Pant, but with KL Rahul coming into form and the way he has performed throughout this Asia Cup, that also is now looking well. So India's middle order is also looking good. On the other hand, all-rounders is something that India has always been lacking for quite some time now. We've always had these batting all-rounders who could get us good runs if our top or tails. Now we have Ravindra Jadeja, we have Akshar Patel, and along with that, we have many other smaller players, big players that we have who can come into the picture. And all of them have on Hardik Pandya, who has been competing. But these players going to be scored when it comes to the World Cup is yet to be seen. But then again, when you look at the bowling department, there were many questions being raised about the fast bowlers and the spin.
Agreement.
ये एशिया का पहला मैच होगा जो एशिया कप में 50 रन को ऑल आउट होगी और हिस्ट्री क्रिएट होगी, रिकॉर्ड बनेगा जी। चैंपियन तो बनेगी इंडिया, बट इतिहास के साथ बनेगी और यही चीज कंटिन्यू टीम को वर्ल्ड कप में रेडी होके जाना है और वर्ल्ड कप के जो मैचेस आने वाले हैं उसमें भी दावेदार बनना है। तो बेस्ट विशेस टीम इंडिया, कंग्रेचुलेशंस, भारत माता की जय, इंडिया इंडिया।
These numbers that we're talking about today, they really rank up high there when it comes to Indian pacers and men's ODIs, the best bowling figures when you actually take a look at them. There is Mohammed Siraj who's up there. There's Ashish Nehra back in 2003. Jasprit Bumrah's performance against England in 2022. These are some of the defining performances, and Mohammed Siraj's very much, if you take a look at the numbers, will go down as just exactly one of that.
होगा जो श्रीलंका की टीम खेल रही है ना, ये श्रीलंका की ओरिजिनल टीम नहीं है। इसके 5 मेन प्लेयर इंजर्ड हैं जो बाहर है, जो एशिया कप में नहीं खेल पाए। ये श्रीलंका की टीम बहुत मुश्किल से वर्ल्ड कप में क्वालिफाई की है, वर्ल्ड कप क्वालिफिकेशन राउंड के लिए, क्योंकि इनके की प्लेयर्स नहीं खेले हैं। आपको याद होगा बांग्लादेश के खिलाफ जब हमने मुकाबला खेला और बांग्लादेश ने हमें 6 रन से शिकस्त दी, वो इसलिए हो पाया क्योंकि जो पावर था बल्लेबाजी का वो नजर आया। तो भाई बता के लो ना बाइट, मुझे बता के लो ना बाइट।
All right, as you can see from our reporters on the ground, there's still a lot of excitement on the ground. That excitement is not going to peter out anytime soon. A dominating performance that we've just watched by Mohammed Siraj. I'll wait for our reporters to join us once again. But what we've essentially seen is impeccable line length and obviously nerves of steel that kept him going, single-handedly dismantling the Sri Lankan batting lineup. You obviously also had Hardik Pandya lending a helping hand there, wrapping up the last 2 wickets to restrict the Sri Lankans to a frugal 50. This is, as many audience members are chiming in and saying, an insane performance from the Indian side. Now, what takes place in the next few minutes? Because remember, obviously, India is going to go in for batting. How that pans out, many fans obviously excitedly saying, acknowledging that India has probably already lifted the Asia Cup if one were to place their bets. But we'll wait for just a second for reporters to join us just to tell us more about what today is going to mean. Because remember, the big thing that my colleague Edwin was also touching on right now is that, all right, we'll check into what
10 विकेट से मुकाबले में जीत दर्ज करें, एक इतिहास बनाएं और इतिहास बनाकर एशिया कप अपने नाम करें, क्योंकि इसके बाद आपको खेलना है वर्ल्ड कप में। जी हां, वर्ल्ड कप में खेलना है आपको, वर्ल्ड कप में जीत हासिल करनी है।
All right, my colleague Edwin remains with us. Edwin, I want us to go back now to talk a little bit more about Mohammed Siraj, because those are the 2 words that right now are setting Indian Twitter alight. Tell us more. If you just had to tell us about what it is that really worked for Siraj today. All right, we'll first take a look at reactions that are continuing to come in.
So I think excitement is huge, house is full और अभी भी बेशक सब आउट हो गए लेकिन आप म्यूजिक भी सुन रहे हैं और everyone still crazy, कोई भी स्टेडियम इतनी जल्दी छोड़ के नहीं जाएगा. So everyone's hopeful. Thank you.
And excuse me, everyone has mistaken this is
Still have hope for Sri Lanka.
But Siraj doing so good bowling. What do you want to say about it? That Siraj doing outstanding bowling.
Everyone has their little mishaps, so I hope that we will pick up.
But it's heartbreaking that Sri Lanka will almost lose the final.
Sorry?
Almost Sri Lanka lose the final. Is this heartbreaking for you?
Yes. I mean, yeah, but we're still having some hope. We're trying to have that positive energy. We don't want to be sad.